Now we move forward for another topic, attentional processes. So, previously in the previous topic, we have discussed that some sensory modalities that help us in collecting information from the external world and also from our internal system. A large number of stimuli impinge upon our sense organs simultaneously, but we do not notice all of them at the same time. Only a selected few of them are noticed. For example, when we enter our classroom, or any room, we encounter several things in it, such as doors, walls, windows, paintings on walls, tables, chairs, students, school bags, water bottles, and so on. But we selectively focus only on one or two of them at one time. The process through which certain stimuli are selected from a group of others is generally referred to as attention. The process through which certain stimuli are selected from a group of others is generally referred to as attention. So, at this point, it may be noted that besides selection, attention also refers to several other properties like alertness, concentration, and search. Alertness refers to an individual's readiness to deal with stimuli that appear before him. While participants in a race in a school might have seen the participants on the starting line in an alert state waiting for the whistle to blow in order to run. Concentration refers to focusing of awareness on certain specific objects while excluding others for the moment. For example, in the classroom, a student concentrates on the teacher's lecture and ignores all sorts of noises coming from different corners of the school. In such an observer looks for some specified subset of objects among a set of objects. For example, when we go to fetch younger sister and brother from the school, we just look for them among innumerable boys and girls. All these activities require some kind of effort on the part of people. Attention in this sense refers to effort allocation. Attention has a focus as well as a fringe. When the field of attention has a focus as well as a fringe, when the field of awareness is centered on a particular object or event, it is called focus or the focal point of attention. On the contrary, when the objects or events are away from the center of awareness and one is only vaguely aware of them, they are said to be at the fringe of attention. Attention has been classified in a number of ways. A process oriented view divides it into two types, namely selective and sustained. So, these two types of attention we will be discussing further. Sometimes we can also attend two different things at the same time. When this happens, it is called divided attention. So, describing divided attention, in day to day life, we attend to several things at the same time. We must have seen people driving a car and talking to a friend, or attending to phone or attending to phone calls on a mobile set, or putting on sunglasses or listening to music. If we watch them closely, we will notice that they are still allocating more effort to driving than to other activities. Even though some attention is given to other activities, it indicates that on certain occasions attention can be allocated to more than one thing at the same time. However, this becomes possible only with highly practiced activities because they become almost automatic and require less attention to perform than new or slightly practiced activities. Automatic processing has three main characteristics. First, it occurs without intention. Two, it takes place unconsciously. And three, it involves very little or no thought processes. For example, we can read words or tie our shoelaces without giving any thought to these activities. So, next is selective attention. Selective attention is concerned mainly with the selection of a limited number of stimuli or objects from a large number of stimuli. We have already indicated that our perceptual system has a limited capacity to receive and process information. This means that it can deal only with a few stimuli at a given moment of time. The question is which of those stimuli will get selected and processed. Psychologists have identified a number of factors that determine the selection of stimuli. Factors affecting selective attention. Several factors influence selective attention. These generally relate to the characteristics of stimuli and the characteristics of individuals. They are generally classified as external and internal factors. External factors are related to the features of stimuli. Other things held constant, the size, intensity, and motion of stimuli appear to be important determinants of attention. Large, bright, and moving stimuli easily catch our attention. Stimuli which are novel and moderately complex also easily get into our focus. Studies indicate that human photographs are more likely to be attended to than the photographs of inanimate objects. Similarly, rhythmic auditory stimuli are more readily attended to than verbal narrations. Sudden and intense stimuli have a wonderful capacity to draw attention. Internal factors lie within the individual. These may be divided into two main categories with motivational factors and cognitive factors. Motivational factors relate to our biological or social needs. When we are hungry, we notice even a faint smell of food. A student taking an examination is likely to focus on a teacher's instructions more than other students. Cognitive factors include factors like interest, attitude, and preparatory set. Objects or events which appear interesting are readily attended by individuals. Similarly, we pay quick attention to certain objects or events to which we are favorably disposed. Preparatory set generates a mental state to act in a certain way and readiness of the individual to respond to one kind of stimuli and not to others. Theories of selective attention. A number of theories have been developed to explain the process of selective attention. So, these three types of theories have given. First, filter theory was developed by Broadbent 1956. According to this theory, many stimuli simultaneously enter our receptors, creating a kind of bottleneck situation moving through the short-term memory system. They enter the selective filter, which allow only one stimulus to pass, which allows only one stimulus to pass through for higher levels of processing. Other stimuli are screened out at that moment of time. Thus, we become aware of only that stimulus which gets access through the selective filter. Second, filter attenuation theory. It was developed by Trisman 1962 by modifying Broadbent's theory. This theory proposes that the stimuli not getting access to the selective filter at a given moment of time are not completely blocked. The filter only attenuates, weakens their strength. Thus, some stimuli manage to escape through the selective filter to reach higher levels of processing. It is indicated that personally irrelevant stimuli, for example, one's name in a collective dinner, can be noticed even at a very low level of sound. Such stimuli, even though fairly weak, may also generate response occasionally by slipping through the selective filter. Multimode theory. So it was developed by Johnston and Hinz 1978. This theory believes that attention is a flexible system that allows selection of a stimulus over others at three stages. At stage 1, the sensory representation, for example, visual images of stimuli, are constructed. At stage 2, the semantic representations, for example, names of objects, are constructed. And at stage 3, the sensory and semantic representations enter the consciousness. It is also suggested that more processing requires more mental effort. When the messages are selected on the basis of stage 1 processing, early selection, less mental effort is required than when the selection is based on stage 3 processing, late selection. Sustained attention. While selective attention is mainly concerned with the selection of stimuli, sustained attention is concerned with concentration. It refers to our ability to maintain attention on an object or even for longer durations. It is also known as vigilance. Sometimes people have to concentrate on a particular task for many hours. Air traffic controllers and radar readers provide us with good examples of this phenomenon. They have to constantly watch and monitor signals on screens. The occurrence of signals in such situations is usually unpredictable, and errors in detecting signals may be fatal. Hence, a great deal of vigilance is required in those situations. So, span of attention, we will look further into it. Our attention has a Our attention has a limited capacity to receive stimuli. The number of objects one can attend to at a brief exposure, that is a fraction of a second, is called a span of attention or perceptual span. More specifically, the span of attention refers to the amount of information an observer can grasp from a complex array of stimuli at a single momentary exposure. This can be determined by the use of an instrument called tachistoscope. On the basis of several experiments, Miller has reported that our span of attention varies within the limit of 7 plus or minus 2. This is popularly known as the magic number. It means that at a time people can attend to a set of 5 to 7 numbers, which can be extended to 9 or more under exceptional conditions. That is perhaps the reason why motorbikes or cars are given a number plate that contains only 4-digit numbers with some alphabets. In case of violation of driving rules, a traffic police can easily read and note these numbers along with the alphabets. Factors influencing sustained attention. Several factors can facilitate or inhibit an individual's performance on tasks of sustained attention. Sensory modality is one of them. Performance is found to be superior when the stimuli called signals are auditory than when they are visual. Clarity of stimuli is another factor. Intense and long-lasting stimuli facilitate sustained attention and result in better performance. Temporal uncertainty is a third factor. When stimuli appear at regular intervals of time, they are attended better than when they appear at irregular intervals. Spatial uncertainty is a fourth factor. Stimuli that appear at a fixed place are readily attended, whereas those that appear at random locations are difficult to attend. Attention has several practical implications. The number of objects the number of objects one can readily attend to in a single glance is used to design the number of plates of motorbikes and cars so that the traffic police can easily notice them in the case of traffic rule violations. A number of children fail to perform well in school simply due to the problem of attention. So, we will now discuss some interesting information about a disorder of attention. So, disorder of attention is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Deficit hyperactivity disorder, that is ADHD. This is a very common behavioral disorder found among children of the primary school age. It is characterized by impulsivity, excessive motor activity, and an inability to attend. The disorder is more prevalent among boys than among girls. If not managed properly, the attention difficulties may persist into adolescence or adult years. Difficulty in sustaining attention is the central feature of this disorder, which gets reflected in several other domains of the child. For example, such children are highly distractible, they do not follow instructions, have difficulty in getting along with parents, and are negatively viewed by their peers. They do poorly in school and show difficulties in reading or learning basic subjects in schools, in spite of the fact that there is no deficit in their intelligence. Studies generally do not provide evidence for a biological basis of the disorder, whereas some relationship of the disorder with dietary factors, particularly food coloring, has been documented. On the other hand, social psychological factors, for example, home environment, family pathology, have been found to account for ADHD more reliably than other factors. Currently, ADHD is considered to have multiple causes and effects. Disagreement remains over the most effective method of treatment of ADHD. A drug called Ritalin is widely used, which decreases children's overactivity and distractibility and at the same time increases their attention and ability to concentrate. However, it does not cure the problem and often also results in such negative side effects as the suppression in normal growth of height and weight. On the other hand, behavioral management programs featuring positive reinforcement and structuring learning materials and tasks in such a way that minimizes errors and maximizes immediate feedback and success have been found quite useful. Successful modification of ADHD is claimed with cognitive behavioral training program in which rewards for desired behaviors are combined with training in the use of verbal self instructions. For example, stop, think, and do, and then do. With this procedure, the ADHD children learn to shift their attention less frequently and to behave reflectively, a learning that is relatively stable over time. Now, another main topic is perceptual processes. So, as of now, we have examined that the stimulation of sensory organs leads us to experience something such as a flash of light or a sound or a smell. This elementary experience called sensation does not provide us with any understanding of the stimulus that stimulated the sense organ. For example, it doesn't inform us about the source of the light, sound, or fragrance. In order to make sense out of the raw material provided by the sensory system, we process it further. In doing so, we give meaning to stimuli by using our learning, memory, motivation, emotions, and other psychological processes. The process by which we recognize, interpret or give meaning to the information provided by sense organs is called perception. In interpreting stimuli or events, individuals often construct them in their own ways. Thus, perception is not merely an interpretation of objects or events of the external or internal world as they exist. Instead, it is also a construction of those objects and events from one's own point of view. So, the process of meaning making involves certain sub processes. So, these are first stimulus, then sensory receptors, then we give attention to it, then it goes into the central nervous system, that is brain, learning, memory, and other psychological processes. Then it is perception. These are the sub processes of perception. Processing approaches in perception. How do we identify an object? Do we identify a dog? Because we have first recognized its furry coat, its four legs, its eyes, ears, and so on. Or do we recognize these different parts because we have first identified a dog? The idea that recognition process begins from the parts which serve as the basis for the recognition of the whole is known as bottom up processing. The notion that recognition process begins from the whole which leads to identification of its various components is known as is known as top down processing. The bottom up